And Bully the Bully is basically what Dustin did to Conor last fight. Right? I mean,
Yeah.
He came at him. He obviously the leg kicks, but he really put pressure on him compared to the first fight where, Dustin was, I think Conor had gotten in his head, before they even stepped in there. I think Conor already won that fight the first time.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he was a different person. He was more of a kid than a man. He was still developing. It was early in his development. He wasn't as mature. He didn't know how to handle that noise. He didn't know how to control that noise. The noise controlled him. Mm-hmm. I think he'd be very honest. He comes on my podcast a lot, and I've talked to him. I talked to him before his rematch gave him a little of my thoughts and advice before his rematch in that fight. And he'll be the first one to tell you that he was not the boss of himself. You got to be the boss of yourself. You can't be the boss of someone else if you're not the boss of yourself. He wasn't really in control of himself that first fight. He allowed himself to be taken to places he shouldn't have been taken to. But it happens.
Right.
It happens when it's new to you. Mm-hmm. And it was new to him.
Do you mean from Conor or from like his own camp, his own people?
No, it was from Conor. It was not his own people. It was just from the shenanigans, from the great psychological warfare that was being put on him by McGregor, who's great at that, tremendous at that. He's that like Ali was, where Ali would break down guys before. He might have broke Sonny Liston down, who was a great fighter. He might have broke him down, before his fight. And he was, he had never experienced that before. And it got to him.
Yeah.
It got to him where he was fighting. He didn't know who he was fighting.
Yeah.
He wound up fighting himself.
Right.
He wasn't fighting just a person. It became oblique. It became something it shouldn't became.
And why do you think Conor didn't use that same approach the second fight? Why did he become this humble Conor and, taking photos?
$120 million in one night.
Civilized.
like Mickey said.
Yeah.
You know your problem, Rock? You got human. You became human.
Yeah.
And there's we joke and we, it's in a movie and all that stuff, but sometimes those things play to real life.
Yeah.
They do. They do play to real life sometimes. There's a reason why they came up with those lines.
Right, sure.
Because they play to real life.
Right.
And he got, you want to call it civilized, you got human, whatever, we joke about it, but it changed. It changed things. So certain things didn't matter. He didn't need that noise anymore. Mm-hmm. It didn't matter. He was in a zone. He was in a place where the real special ones get, whether it's Brady, whether it's Michael Jordan, whatever, where they get. And a big part of that, most of it is mental. Mm-hmm. Where they get. The best way I could describe, when Conor was really, really the guy that was just knocking guys out and just building this monster of a brand, and he did, obviously, and it got him that fight with Mayweather. But he was really good. And when that was happening, it was kind of like, the best way I could describe it was, he was like a leopard or a lion in a jungle. Mm-hmm. And it was his jungle.
Yeah.
And everyone else that was in that jungle was his prey.
Yeah.
And he really believed that.
100%.
100%. You're a real follower of his.
Yeah.
And everyone, and there was no doubt. There's never a doubt with the leopard when he's crouched up on that who's eating who. Yeah. There's never a doubt.
He was picking the round he was going to win and consistently doing it.
When the leopard's up on that branch and he's looking down on whatever it is he's looking down on, there's no doubt that who's going to be burping.
Right.
At the end. Who's going to be, looking for a toothpick?
Yeah.
And there's no doubt. And it was that, it really, truly was that way at that point for that period of time, before Floyd, where the noise was the noise of the jungle.
Right.
It was the rules of the jungle, his rules. Everybody was his prey. And suddenly that changed with what we're talking about. Because suddenly that jungle became a theme park.
Yeah.
And instead of a water hole, there's a jacuzzi. It's rough to be the leopard when there's a jacuzzi instead of a watering hole.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
And that changed. That changed everything. It changed everything. Now, I don't know if he can bring the watering hole back.
Right.
I don't know. Get rid of the jacuzzi.
Right.
You know, I don't know. I don't know if he can do that, but I know he's trying to.
Yeah.
I know he's trying
For
to.
legacy.
Yeah, I know he's trying. That's why he's bringing the noise back. I don't think it's an accident.
Yeah.
That that suddenly there's chaos again. There's commotion. There's anger.
Yeah.
You know, but it's a controlled anger. It's not real anger for him.
Right.
You know, it's something. Again, it's the wind that the bird uses to fly. It's what he uses to fly.